Wait, don't click off the video, hear me out. Keldeo is a mythical Pokemon, but this challenge was actually really excruciatingly difficult. Here's why. There's only 2 ways to legitimately obtain a Keldeo. It was received in a past mystery gift, or it was caught in the wild within the Crown Tundra. Now since it's 2021, I had to do the latter, which means I'm starting with the Keldeo at level 65. 68 actually, since I had him in my party in my old save, but it's because of its high level that made this challenge, well, challenging. According to Bulbapedia, any traded Pokemon outside your game will not listen to you if you do not have the required badges or completed island challenges. So, because Keldeo is level 68, it will, and it does, many things, such as napping and hurting itself in battle. It's a game mechanic used to prevent people from demolishing everything in sight. I figured level 68 was a decent level. Not too high, but also somewhat difficult for it to listen to me. And to make things more fair, I used Bulbapedia when it came to Keldeo's moveset. I started out with Aqua, Jet, and Leer, and I followed the level cap of trainers and wild Pokemon when it came down to remembering moves. I also didn't want to hack into anything or bring in a broken Keldeo. So here's its stats at level 68. It was caught in the Crown Tundra in my previous save file. Still with me? Great! And with that, I transported all my Pokemon into Pokemon Home because I seriously did not want to lose anybody from my previous save file. However, I voluntold a Metapod in my PC to stay. Metapod, you see, I'm doing this run thing with Keldeo only, and I need somebody that can stay here when I reset the game, and I'm so sorry! I deleted my save data. Godspeed, Metapod. Godspeed. And thus, I started my own solo run with one of my favorite Pokemon. As a child, I thought Pokemon with Swords of Justice were cool. I watched that Keldeo movie how many times? As any ordinary Pokemon trainer starts their epic journey, I had some random dream of creating/naming myself. I then meet Hop, the champion's little brother. He yells across the room that his brother Leon is visiting, and I should go with him instead of watching one of Leon's battles through a Rotom phone. I must say though, the name feels like a ripoff of Apple or Android. Anywho, I grabbed my hat and backpack out of my bedroom with a missing door, and I headed outside. We watched a determined Wooloo trying to open up a fence. I felt really bad, but the game made my 10-year-old avatar unable and weak to do anything about it. I go to Hop's place, and his mom tells us to go to the station. We do so, meet Leon, and I kinda have to choose a starter, don't I? Because I didn't want to hack into the game, this is the only exception to the run, since Keldeo is a water type, and I literally could do nothing about this. I chose to have temporary Keldeo before I would have my actual starter. I named him Butt. His head looked like an upside down butt. Hop got Score Bunny, and Leon got Grookey. There was a barbecue, and the next day Hop issued a challenge. I won with temporary Keldeo. Leaving Hop's house, a large crash came from the Wooloo smashing its head on the fence. I went through the slumbering wheel to find it, but instead I found the legendary Pokemon at level ? That's fine. All I have to do is run and... Unable to be attacked or run with no Pokemon whatsoever, the Pokemon ? decided it was best to just go away and mist. Leon found us, and after returning home, I can finally head to Wedgehurst. I can finally head to a Pokemon Center. Time to switch butt for... An old man keeps stating he's glad his Wooloo is healed. Ugh. To progress in the game, I went to the Pokemon laboratory where I found a Yamper and met Sonia, the professor assistant. She gave me a Pokedex, which is pretty much useless when I have only Keldeo on my team, but the gift was appreciated. Finally, after leaving the lab, I can switch out for Keldeo, who I named as Justice, as Hop questions my Pokemon Center knowledge. I switch out Butt for Justice, and so the actual challenge starts now. I felt bad for Butt though. I didn't know if he'd like the same happy place as the Metapod, so I left him inside the PC. All alone. Leaving the Pokemon Center, Hop finds me at Route 2 and wants me to do the gym challenge. Of course I agreed. Leon shows my avatar how to catch Pokemon, which happens to be of no use at all for me. There's a lot of things that are pretty much useless to me in this challenge. I made it to Professor Magnolia's place where I had to battle Hop again to prove I was worthy to take on the gym challenge. But this time, I had my real 100% starter. I won, only losing about 5 minutes of my time and about a quarter of health, so no big deal. So now with the endorsement and the random wishing star that flew shortly after, coincidentally, Sonia came out of nowhere and offered to make dinner in the house. Hop and I stayed for the night. The following morning, Professor Magnolia gave us both a Dynamax band. I got some camping gear, and Hop gave me TM Swift. I replaced Tackle with Swift because it's easily better for Justice to have. Next objective, Wedgehurst to Monostoke. The train stopped at Wild Area Station because a bunch of Wooloo were apparently on the tracks. So after Sonia gave me the Pokemon Box Link, which practically is another item that's useless, I knew I had to go through the wild area as if I was avoiding the plague. Once I reached Motostoke, I met Sonia again at the first Pokemon Center in the city. She somehow made it there before me. Like, I clearly remembered passing by her before I went to the wild area. The Wooloo must have left the tracks earlier than I thought. Well, she told me all about the Rotami, aka the Pokemon PC thing. She also gave me Leon's League card, and now I had one myself, and explained I must register at the stadium to start my gym challenge. But before I did, I would follow Sonia to the shops where I would customize my avatar to look more like me, which probably was a bad idea financially, considering the amount of potions and awakenings I realized I would soon have to buy in a bit from now. As I was heading up through the lift to the city's upper level, Leon told me I'm ready to give Justice some good old Mystic Water, which for once was an item that did have some benefit for Justice. It powers up water-type moves, aka its Aqua Jet. So I was like, why not? But before I went in the stadium with Hop, I would talk to Ball Guy, who gave me a Pokeball, who would give me things that I can't really use in this run at all. I registered and met Beatty. Hop described him well by calling him a piece of work. I would honestly call him more of a stalker. It was time to make the most important decision in this entire run. I asked myself, what number should be on my jersey? I went with 69. Deal with it. Registered as a gym challenger, it was time for me to head to the hotel that was booked by Chairman Rose. I went to the hotel where I found Sonia again, but this time my avatar learned about the darkest day, and how a human being saved everything with a sword and shield. Of course, I would soon learn this was false, but right now, I'm more focused on beating Pokemon Sword with only one Keldeo. Team Yell restricted me from going over to the receptionist's desk, so I had to beat them. It took me like 10 plus turns every single time, but I made it through in the end. Marnie stops Team Yell from being shirty to other gym challengers. I think we both know it was obvious that Game Freak meant for her to swear in a more PG term. The next day, I went into the stadium and was introduced to 7 of the gym leaders with the world seeing me for the first time. The ceremony thing was over and Leon introduced me to Chairman Rose, who 110% totally seems decent. I should mention I now have access to taxis in this game, and thank goodness for it, because I'd rather not have my water-type starter flooded with HMs. Of course, before I settled for Route 3, I had a battle with my rival. I lost. You would think a level 68 Keldeo would completely destroy Hop's team, and that would, if it wouldn't constantly hit himself, taking over half his health after his defense is lowered by Rookie D's leader. Even if I used the potions I had access to at that time, it would literally do nothing. It would hit himself again and fade. Please, just land a... Oh my gosh. No! Ah! No! No! Realizing Justice can faint early on fast, I had to better prepare myself for future battles. At this point, I thought I had more than enough for potions, so I focused on buying 15 awakenings for the upcoming battle, along with some X defenses just in case. I managed through somehow. I may hate myself for doing this, but any chance I could battle a trainer, I would. I knew I had to invest in more future potions and awakenings. Sonia was there and talked to me about a random factory belonging to Rose. She then actually gave me an item I could use for once, an escape rope. Except I didn't use it all this entire run. Route 3 went along pretty nicely, minus the part where I lost against Schoolboy Peter, but I would soon defeat him afterwards. At the Galar Mine, I didn't have any troubles whatsoever. That is, until I battled Beatty. His Solosis can use Endeavor, a move that cuts down the target's HP to equal the user's. Justice fell to sleep, Solosis used confusion, Justice woke up, hit himself, and with one more confusion, after about a 7-minute battle with no more healing items, I knew I had no other choice but to press my luck. Please, for the heart of the cards, believe in the heart of cards. No! No! Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Just one more. Come on. Yes! Nothing much happened on Route 4 other than that I met Milo. I must say though, I am glad he was the first gym leader I had to face because grass beats water. When I got to Turf Field, Hop said that I had talked to Sonia on a tall hill. I went there and she wanted my thoughts about a geoglyph containing a Dynamax Pokemon. I gave her a 1-sentence response and she seemed so happy that I took the time to talk to her. She gave me Milo's lead card and some revives. The lead cards don't really matter much, and besides the escape rope, everything I've gotten from her is not much of use for me. In preparation before the first gym, I got some potions and awakenings just to be safe. I changed Justice's moveset so it would have the moves it would have had if it was level 15. I herded some Wooloo and faced Milo. I thought it would be a good idea to Dynamax right away, but Justice didn't listen at all for 3 turns. Even after Milo Dynamaxed his Eldegoss, Justice was still standing. It double-kicked both of his 2 Pokemon and I got my first batch. Route 5 I didn't really have a problem at all going through, but I thought it was funny yet sad that I could just stand in front of trainers wanting a double battle. I went to the first nursery thinking that they could take care of Butt, instead of me sentencing him to death in the wild, or isolating him in the PC, but sadly, they said I have too few Pokemon left. Well, that's stupid. Maybe there's an item I could get. The lady forced me to take a Toxel without being able to say no. God, I promise I've been only using Justice as much as the game allowed. The Toxel was named Toxic, as that's how I felt about him in that moment. I gave Bud a friend. I felt bad if I were to release a level 1 Pokemon in the wild as a trainer. There was a part of me that felt Bud and Toxic would just die by ravaging bloodthirsty Pokemon. I decided it was best to just keep them in the PC. Continuing on, I saved this guy with a mask from Team Yell. He gave me a bike, I went on a bridge, and I defeated Hop again. I made it to Hullberry and found Beatty, Rose, and Oleana. Before going to a seafood restaurant, Rose tells me I should meet up with him after I get my second badge because he wants to know why Leon endorsed me. I went to the nearby lighthouse so I could challenge Nessa in the gym, did a puzzle, and defeated her. The gym battle went more smoothly considering I waited to Dynamax this time and just as listened when Dynamax. Oleana finds me outside the gym and gives me Rose's lead card thinking I won't know what he looks like. He looks like he's wearing pajamas. At the seafood restaurant, I found Rose, Oleana, and Sonia. The conversation was mostly about discovering Dynamax stuff, and as a reward for clearing the second gym, Sonia gave me the TM Retaliate. You need a second Pokemon in your team for this move to be good. Should've seen that coming. At Galar Mine number 2, Original, I found Beatty and defeated him. I took on some Team Yell grunts with Hop, and later I got introduced to Kaboo. He left saying I will challenge him the next day, so I returned to stay for the night at the same hotel in Monostoke. Marnie challenged me, and surprisingly, Justice listened to me like 70% of the time in that battle. The next day I went to the gym, and the challenge was to catch/defeat wild Pokemon before the other trainers do. For the first time ever in the run, I had to battle wild Pokemon. I didn't need to catch any of them to proceed. The battle with Kaboo was actually kind of funny. Justice fell asleep the first turn Dynamax, and I used an Awakening the second turn. 1 turn left in Dynamax form, and level 69 Justice with 69 health used Max Geyser, and I was happy I chose my number on my jersey to be 69 at that moment. The first 3 gym leaders gave Hop and I a send-off, and the next objective is to head towards Hammerlock. Hop tells me I can go to Hammerlock right away, and that is exactly what I did. He recommended I catch some Pokemon, but nah. Beatty pops up being a creep and all, Hop battles Speedy, and I leave him alone. I found a second nursery along the way, and the place reminded me that it was best if I dropped Toxic off at the other nursery where he came from, so that's what I did. Upon entering Hammerlock, I upgraded my bike because I felt it was needed. As I was entering Hammerlock, Beatty budges in front of me telling me he crushed Hop's ideals in being as good as Leon. Fun. In Hammerlock, Rose tells me wishing stars power the region and blah blah blah. I was encouraged to check out the treasure in the town. Leon is worried the Hop got bullied, which he did. And Sonia tells me there were 2 heroes, not one, from the darkest day. Route 6, I got by easily. Team Yell was not a match for me. Hop was too busy with character development at the time. The Scylla Cobra looked like it was going to pass out and needed attention, but the grunts were saying it was sleeping. I didn't think it was asleep, but it actually was. Then Opal showed up and gave me her lead card. At Still Inside, I found what might have been the best item I could have ever hoped for, a rocky helmet. Basically, if Justice still refuses to listen, and if there is an opposing physical attack, the opposing Pokemon will take some damage. This I was glad to have. I had to help Hop with his character development. Opal was watching us like a stalker. I saw a pattern between Beatty and Opal. I rode the spiny thing as if I was in a teacup in Disneyland, faced Bea, and I got the 4th gym badge. Sonia wants me to help her gain some insight in a mural, but it wasn't until Beatty did a no-no that I would have to battle him. He got disqualified, and because of his shenanigans, the mural revealed the heroes were actually 2 Pokemon. Wow! Next was Glenwood Tangle. I got there easily, and there wasn't as many trainers there as I expected. Plus, I started noticing that Justice is actually being more friendlier to me. In Balina, Marnie left the gym and I took this quiz. Justice prevailed in getting me the next badge. At this point in the game, it said that Pokemon up to level 45 would listen to you completely, but for some reason a level 70 Keldeo is somehow listening to me with no trouble? I'm going to say my bond with him is more than the average trainer. I returned to Hammerlock. Stalker met Stalker. The Stalkers left to test the younger Stalker. I'm tasked to go to Route 7. Sonia came up to me to discuss history theories for some reason. A big boom occurred, and Leon said I should ignore it and continue my gym challenge. Level 70 Justice and I defeated Hop at Route 7. I got through Route 7 and 8. Searchester, I handled it well besides the fact I kept falling from sand in the gym. With the badge acquired, I went to Bob's Your Uncle. Really is more of a statement than a restaurant name, and I found a hot bath area containing more about Galar's past. I defeated Hop, went to Route 9, defeated some Team Yell grunts, acquired a bike that rides on land and water, became confused why people would swim in the middle of a winter wonderland, and then followed/battled Marnie to get to Spike Monk. For this challenge, I had to use Butt, because I couldn't use only a single Pokemon apparently, so I had to borrow Butt for a bit, and he used like healing items that were pretty much useless the entire time, died, and Justice would basically demolish everything else. Sure, I got through the grunts fine, but Piers himself proved to be quite a challenge because of his Obstagoon's dumb counter. I beat him though after 2 or 3 attempts, another kaboom 5 minutes later, and Leon went off to save the day. Back at Hammerlock, I reconvened with Sonia, Leon, Hop, and unexpectedly, Professor Magnolia. Pretty much, Rose thinks the future of Galar's energy will go wacko, and it's up to Sonia to find the connection between the red lights and the darkest day. Leon ordered me to get to the last gym instead of helping him, and you gotta be kidding me, I have to go waste some more paralyzed heals. I defeated all 3 trainers at Ryan's gym and defeated him rather quickly. Not too bad. I got the 8 badges, and it's now time for another history lesson with Sonia, as she attained her grandma's lab coat. Before I went to Route 10, aka this game's version of Victory Road, Justice's moveset is now Hydro Pump, Smart Strike, Swift, and Sacred Sword. I hesitated on Secret Sword. Having Keldeo learn Secret Sword is how it transforms, including its stats. Fun fact, Sacred Sword contains less power, but more PP compared to Sacred Sword. I guess the stats with Justice's transformation was made up with a weaker move? Back to the point. Instead of giving it Secret Sword right away, for me, I wanted Justice to learn it before the Championship Cup. Raihan gave us some encouraging advice before we parted from Hammerlock Station. Route 10 was actually a breeze. Haha, get it? Make it to Windon. I replaced Sacred Sword with Secret Sword. If it's one thing I learned from this run, is that anything can happen. Things are getting serious now. Simply being higher level than others will not cut it in terms of winning battles. Again, anything can happen. My first challenger was Marnie and her Dark-type Pokemon, whom I crushed completely thanks to Justice being a fighting type. The only part that worried me was Grimmsnarl using G-Snooze, but I was quickly able to end the battle before Justice would fall asleep. For the millionth time. My next opponent was Hop, and similar to Marnie's case, Justice handled it well. However, Hop's Cinderace made me nervous when he used Max Airstream. Leon congratulated us that we both fought hard in our battle and offered some dinner. We left for the hotel. Not gonna lie, the reporter asking questions about the battle with Hop in the hotel did make me wonder if I had what it took to beat Leon. Sure, Justice was at level 75? But did we really have what it took? I wasn't sure. Leon's disappearance made Hop worried. Piers, being a hypocrite, responds that Hop is being nosy and said Leon was actually heading towards Rose Tower. Naturally, we chose the commonsensical decision. Barge into a highly organized governmental tower, with Marnie and Team Yell backing us up. Nothing can! Liana says that I can't talk to Rose because he's in a very important meeting. Great! In order to get the tower's key, Liana made me play hide and seek with Macrocosmos' Eric. I had to find and battle him 3 separate times. It felt redundant. Then, he went to hide inside the monorail with 3 other lookalikes. Piers caused a crowd, and somehow, according to Marnie, we found the key. Cool. Piers wanted Marnie, Hop, and I to leave the monorail while he sang to the crowd. We headed to the tower, only to see him show up literally 5 seconds later. Not questioning how he traveled so fast, he and his sister stayed behind, and it was up to Hop and I to reach the roof. We double-teamed some trainers, and at the roof, I challenged Oleana. I defeated her team pretty easily. Making our way to Leon and Rose, they discussed the Galar energy problem. Kind of how people argue whether or not global warming is a problem in today's world. We interrupted, and Leon was like, who cares about the energy problem 1,000 years from now? I only care about battling somebody tomorrow. Something like that. The next day was finals, and it's practically the part of the typical Pokemon game where you have to face Elite Four, except there's only gym leaders competing. And I have to, for some reason, battle Beatty, who demands that I battle him in order to decide his fate. Due to his team having a bunch of physical moves outside of his fairy moves, I lost the first time. Yeah. I handled taking on his team pretty well thanks to Justice having Smart Strike, however it was his Headernay that got me. Forgot I healed Justice, and I should have given up on attacking on turn when it was Dynamax because it was soon hit with a Max Mindstorm. Thinking how I'll face Beatty again, I one-shot the Rapidash this time Dynamax so I would survive a turn when facing the Headernay, and I won by sheer luck. Next was Nessa. Defeated her fast. Her team was mostly made of water types, and because Justice is also a water type, I used any move besides Hydro Pump to win. After Nessa was Bae. Interestingly, I discovered that Secret Sword was effective against her fighting type team, so that's what I had Justice use against all of her Pokemon besides her Machamp. For him, Justice used Max Geyser twice since it was the most powerful Dynamax move Justice has. There was a bit of sibling bickering between Piers and Marnie before my next match. They were arguing about how Piers refused to Dynamax any of his Pokemon against Raihan. Ironically enough, I did what Piers couldn't do. Yup, I defeated Raihan without Dynamaxing only because I forgot to. And then, it was time to face Leon. But then Rose said it, the darkest day is coming, he messed up, blah blah blah. Leon went off on a solo mission, while Hop and I returned to our hometown to go to the Slumbering Weald in order to awaken the legendary Sword and Shield Pokemon. Sonia was surprised that we were there, but bada bing bada boom, we picked up the rusted weapons and readied for the legendary battle that awaited for us at Hammerlock. There was another round of words of encouragement from Raihan. When I found the tower, Oleana couldn't have made her obsession over Rose more clear when she said we should save him from Dynamax Pokemon from possibly destroying a huge power plant. So I faced Rose, no big deal. Justice prevailed. He told us to witness Leon capturing Eternatus. Then Hop and I found Leon doing just that. He failed, and of course, Eternatus targets me. Its Dynamax cannon did make me a bit worried since it almost one-shot Justice. But thanks to the Rocky Helmet and a potion, I was able to defeat it. Then it Dynamax, making gravity go crazy. That did not stop me from stopping it, unless if the game said I couldn't use any moves. A couple of turns later, Zacian and Zamazenta were summoned at the tower. Together with them and Hop, it was us against Eternatus. Their unique moves were actually very helpful. Otherwise, Justice, even as a mythical, hardly landed any major damage. Side note, it was also really cringe when Eternatus was at 1 HP. Instead of using a move to finish it, Zacian used Howl. With Eternatus eventually defeated, I had no choice. The game refused for me to not catch it. There was no other way to continue otherwise. I suppose catching it doesn't count as battling with it. Aside from game restrictions, I've only been beating the game with justice. So, I did what must be done to continue the game. And the 2 legendaries flew off in the distance. And that was it. Or was it? When I woke up at the hotel, I put Eternatus in the PC with Butt. Toxic is at the daycare, and Butt shouldn't be lonely forever. This way, he has a friend. And so I went into the Wind-On Stadium once more to finish my adventure. 1 goal is left. Defeat Leon. His first Pokemon was the Aegislash. His Shadow Ball really hit Justice hard. Its King's Shield move also annoyed me, but I was able to heal and max out Justice with as many X special defenses and X defenses the game allowed. I finished it with a Hydro Pump, and Leon sent out his Dragapult next. Justice was able to survive 2 whole Thunderbolts, taking hardly any damage thanks to all the battle items I've been stacking this entire run. 1 Hydro Pump and 1 Smart Strike later, Justice defeated the Dragapult. Rillaboom was sent out next. I prayed that its move Drum Beating, a Grass-type move, wouldn't defeat Justice. After believing in the heart of the cards, it barely did anything. Justice used a Secret Sword, but it was not enough. Then the Rillaboom used another Drum Beating, which Justice is still standing, another Secret Sword, and the Rillaboom is defeated. Phew! Hexerus was next, but with 1 Secret Sword, he went down right away. 2 more Secret Swords, and Rhyperior was down. Then, the pinnacle of this entire run, Justice versus Charizard. 1 max Airstream, and I might be donezo. All cards were on the table. My commentary. It's you and me, buddy. We've been through so much. So much. End this now. Come on. No. No. Survive. Survive. Okay. It's super effective, but it's okay. It's okay. Just use Max Geyser. Yes. Yes. Be enough. Be enough. Okay. There we go. I beat Leon. Whew. And with that, Leon is defeated, I became champion, and the challenge was complete. I was even skeptical at first if it would even be possible for me to do this said challenge when Justice would hardly listen to me in the beginning of the run. In fact, I didn't even know if Justice could have survived many of the parts throughout the run. Clearly, that was not the case. And hey, maybe I'll do a part 2 where I attempt to beat postgame, or DLC with Justice. Who knows? But that's all for this video.